Welcome.
Welcome. We
Took a little
are
bit of a
back.
break. Just kind of getting back in the swing of things, I guess. We got another r slash no sleep video, or not video, story. This one's called "Whatever Drove My Neighbors from Their House. It's Coming for Me Now."
Oh,
It's pretty cool. It's a bit of a longer one.
I
Yeah, it
think
looks like
it's
maybe like
like
30, 40 minutes.
yeah, it's like 30 minutes. I think it's probably gonna be a 34-minute read. It's probably gonna be. I'm hoping it's some like old dude, some like old decrepit dude,
Yeah,
like
some
from
pissed off guy.
like the old guy from Monster House.
I do. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Oh,
Love that movie.
get off my lawn.
Well, wasn't he trying to like keep them from getting eaten by the house or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Because it was like
that's
his
fair.
his wife was
Yeah,
like evil.
it was. Yeah,
His like ogre wife.
fucking
Most
war pig of a
most
woman.
yeah. It's the purtiest woman I've ever seen. You
Ugh.
found her in like a circus cage.
That's fucked up. Okay, I'm gonna read this. Pilar, I don't think they're ever coming back. My husband Noah was peeking through the blinds at our neighbor's hastily abandoned house across the street. 3 weeks ago, in the middle of the night, we heard screaming and saw Jim and his long-term girlfriend, Joy, you can call us J and J, they annoyingly told me when we first met, burst out of the historic River Rock house across from us and drive away in a panic. They didn't even close the front door. The cops came, did a cursory look around the house, filed a report that no one would ever read, and left. Since then, it's been radio silent. Jim and Joy haven't returned, haven't sent a text, haven't picked up anything. It's like they'd been edited out of the film of our lives and left on the cutting room floor. Noah had become obsessed with this story since the night it happened. I had to convince him not to go check out the house after they'd first run off. He said he'd wanted to see what had scared them and if there was anything he could do to help. I reminded him that 1. He didn't like Jim, 2. He wasn't a cop, and 3. The growing tear in his right meniscus would hamper any quick escape. He tried to argue, but my "no means no" stare backed him down. Since then, since then we've kept watch on the place. All the neighbors have. We're not a close knit community by any stretch, but when something strange like this happens, it fires up the gossip machine. That machine forges instant connections. Neighbors become closer, if for no other reason than to get to the latest scoop.
Nobody knew what had happened, but everyone had a theory. Everything from con men to poltergeists was given consideration. But the plot most the plot most of my neighborhood settled on was some kind of violent struggle related to a drug trade and a boy. Did the rumor mill churn? What? Did the
The
rumor
rumor
mill
mill churn.
churn? I've never.
Like it,
I know what he
the
means. I just never heard that like ever. That's
That's
interesting.
fair.
Nobody is that perky all the time. Has to be cocaine abuse. I
Oh,
heard. I heard he was trained assassin for the cartels. Didn't they
what?
move from Miami? Makes you think, no? J&J being drug mules never sat right with us. Jim and Joy were a lot of things. Affable? Affable?
Affable, yeah.
What's that mean?
Let me look it up. Affable meaning: friendly, good-natured, or easy to talk to. Affable.
Annoyingly upbeat. Instagram pretty. But violent druggies isn't how I describe them. They'd been like finding out. That'd be like finding out your toy poodle was a serial killer. Besides, they were the couple your parents compared you to. Be more like them. They have it all figured out, dear. The default couple photo that comes with every picture frame. The goddamn blueprint for modern suburban happiness. These kinds of people don't flee in terror in the middle of the night and never return. Something spooked them. They were spies? Frank, our crotchety? Crotchety. Our crotchety neighbor declared the other night. Nobody asked him for his thoughts, but as stated by old person law, he saw two people minding their own business and felt compelled to interject his opinion. We stopped our nightly walk and turned to the man. "What?" I said, letting my annoyance creep into my words. I felt Noah's elbow pop into my ribs, letting me know the tone didn't go unnoticed. "Spies. Get those ears cleaned out," he said. "What were you saying about the neighbors now?" Oh. Sorry. I read that weird. "What were you saying about the neighbors now?" Noah said. "Those people were probably spies that got called back. One day, they're mowing the lawn too goddamn early in the morning. Next, they're having cocktails in a bar in some third world hellhole. Like Florida?" Noah joked. Frank snorted. "Whole damn world's been turned upside down. Wasn't like this one when I was a kid." "The generation lament," Noah joked. "Didn't people say they heard them screaming like they've been spooked?" "Sure, but they were the ones doing the spooking. I guarantee it." He just fucking hates these people. Fuck. We've heard their place was maybe haunted," I said. Frank laughed. "Specters? Please. Bunch of ho-hash." He looked at Noah. "Have you never folded a flag before?" Noah shrugged. "No, never had one. Part of the problem right there," Frank said. "You just hold the edges and I'll do the hard work." "Generational lament," I echoed. Noah gave me a look, but chased it with a sly smile. Frank didn't hear anything because a woman was speaking. Or at least that was my take on the subject.
Fucking hilarious.
That's pretty funny. "You live next to them. You ever notice anything off?" Noah asked Frank. "There was a lot of nighttime activity, a lot of prowling, night conversations, movement in the house and yard." "Night conversations?" Noah asked. "What does that mean?" "Whispering in the backyard. Wasn't in English. So I have... Oh. Jesus. I thought that was a comma. "Whispering in the backyard. Wasn't in English, so I have no idea what they were saying. But it was constant. Every night." "What language was it?" "I only speak English, so I have no clue. Just another data fact that points to them being spies." "Have you seen anyone go inside since they left?" "No," Frank said. "Outside the police, nobody has even stopped by. I keep an eye on the place, too, just in case their handlers visit. I know a few people connected with the company, if you know who I mean." "Do you know who Sears of Roebuck are?" Roebuck?
Roebuck. I thought you said Robux.
I was gonna say Robux, and I was like, that's definitely not right. Why would an old man be talking about Robux?
Bro, he's gotta get his he's gotta get his Roblox down, bro. Come on now.
I asked. It fell on deaf ears, and was the conversation ender. I've been hoping it was. Frank told us. He kept. Hang on, I read that weird again. It was the conversation ender. I've been hoping it was. Frank told us he'd keep us in the loop if anyone came by and headed back off to his house. The flag tucked under his arm. Noah gave me a look. Sears and Roebuck. "You sound older than Frank." "I was meeting him on his level," I said with a shrug. "You think J&J were a pair of spies?" "No way," he said. "Spies are supposed to blend into local populations. J&J were the trendsetters in this place. They planted... What is that?
Begonias.
Begonias. Is that a flower?
I believe so.
Oh. Begonias. Begonias.
Begonias.
Begonias. It sounds like a douche flower. And soon houses. Is that
Soon
soon?
houses all along the street followed suit.
What is? Oh, so, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. You.
I'll take it from here.
Yeah, you take it from here. That's too much dialogue.
I love that you noticed that. He shrugged. My point is, you can't blend into the scenery if you're building it. Did you learn this from your 4 years? Nope, from your years in counter surveillance at Langley, or? Shh, he said, wrapping his arm around my waist as we made our way up the driveway. You'll blow my cover, and Frank knows people in the company. I laughed and tried my best to affect a Russian accent. Do you need me? I don't know, do Russian accent. Do you need me to call my friends in Moscow to resolve this Frank situation? It was Noah's turn to cackle. That's your Russian accent? Forgive me, I said with a wink. I've been on assignment in America for far too long. We went inside and started cooking dinner. While I was simmering a sauce, there was a knock on the door. I glanced over at Noah and gave him a confused look. We weren't expecting anyone, especially later in the evening. Noah opened the front door to reveal Melissa, the mousy-looking neighbor 2 doors down. I could count on my hand the number of times we'd spoken, but I knew that she and Joy had hit it off. Usually a cute woman, Melissa now looked like she'd just gone 10 rounds in the octagon. Nervous, sweaty, and jittery. Kind of like an addict needing a fix. Maybe J&J were drug dealers after all. Hi. I don't know if we formally met, but I'm Melissa. I live 2 houses down, in the white one, with red trim, begonias in the front. Oh yeah, Noah said. I love your landscaping. Bold move with the begonias. Oh thanks, she said, pushing her glasses up her nose. You okay, Melissa? I asked, coming into the view behind Noah. Oh well, not really, no, she said with a nervous laugh. I'm actually a little freaked out right now, to tell the truth. Please come in, I said, nudging Noah away from the door. I don't want to interrupt your dinner plans or anything, she said. Quickly glancing across the street at the abandoned house, she did it a few times, actually. Small glances, like she was worried someone was watching her. Maybe Frank's spies were on the case. Noah was already delaying it by messing around on his phone. Come in, please, take a seat. Need something to drink? Water? Seltzer? Maybe a shot of something, she joked. But I got the sense she was serious. She was skittish. Her hands kept moving for no other reason than to stay busy. A person on the brink of a nervous breakdown and pretending the world around them isn't burning to ash. I can do that. We've some good booze. Or maybe wine? I have a bottle I've been wanting to try, I said, reaching into the cabinet and pulling out 2 glasses. If you don't mind, she said, her gaze fitting between me and the floor. You're doing me a favor, Noah. You're doing me a favor. Noah, can you keep an eye on the pan? He nodded and continued the tedious job of slowly stirring the bubbling red sauce. Did you plan the landscaping yourself, or did you hire out? He asked, a bubble popping and leaving a red ring on the stovetop. What? Oh, sorry, Melissa said. Sorry, I did it myself. I took an online course about it. Noah has raved about it since you put it in, I said, bringing the bottle over and popped the top. We want to do something, but haven't decided on what. She took the glass from me and downed it in one gulp. She placed the glass down and slid it toward me. I refilled. What's going on? Melissa took the glass and downed it again. I do imagine it burned going down, but
You
her
know,
face gave away nothing.
You know those people who like lick the glass as like they drink it, and, like just trying to get fat. You ever seen that? The people.
No.
No. I just had that image in my head of her like they like lick the glass and they like swirl it and like it's like usually
so
a
it says
bottle.
like that it goes down quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it in a bottle.
And she does
Oh yeah. I know what you're
that.
talking about now. That's great.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. It just does this, licks it and swirls it.
Professional bar hopper, bro. Come
Yeah.
on now.
Yeah. I don't usually drink that much, but I guess I'll have a sip.
Chug that shit, bro.
Sorry. Keep going.
Basically, thing. Well, it's going to sound weird, but I promise you, I'm not crazy or anything. You're in a safe space, I told her, my voice softening. I nodded down at the glass, but she waved me away. So, you know about Joe and Jim, right? They used to live across from you. Is this about them fleeing in the middle of the night? She nodded. Tears formed in the corners of her eyes. She tried to play it off like nothing was there, but I handed her a napkin, and her facade broke. Thank you. Yes, the ones who left a few weeks ago. Are they okay? They're better now, but still frazzled, Melissa said. I don't think they'll ever be the same, to be honest. I don't know if I will either. This got Noah to turn down the burners and switch his attention from the sauce to the tea. What happened to them? He asked. Is Are they cooking tea, or are they referring to like the drama as tea?
Like probably the drama, I'd imagine.
Okay. What happened to the, yes. It started the day they moved in. Little things. Strange noises. Cold spots. Things getting misplaced. That kind of stuff. But then it got worse. Chairs sliding around the kitchen floor. Doors slamming at all hours of the night. Whispers in the dark. Phantom touches on the arm. Smell of cigarette smoke wafting through the house. She said, her voice shaking. Then they saw him. Who? Old Man McGuire. Hey, you take over here.
It's a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. She slid her glass towards me again. I refilled it and realized that this woman had put down most of this before I'd even had a sip. I should have started with the $2 chuck and not something I actually wanted to drink. Regardless, Melissa was rattled. If liquid courage helped unlock the mystery, bottoms up. They called him the Drover. Hang on. Probably shouldn't have drank that pop for reading this.
Uh-oh.
The what?
Burps.
I asked. Drover, Noah said. It's a rancher. I gave him a confused look, and he shrugged. Years of horse camp. I had no idea. Yeah, it's you. I used to ride horses. I had no idea Noah had ever even ridden a horse, let alone attended years of horse camp. I feel like that's a pretty big thing to just not tell somebody.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's something to bring up.
And I planned to find all that out later. But right now, my attention was on the potentially haunted house across the way from my own. Melissa had asked me not to think she was crazy before she spoke. But I was struggling with that idea at the moment. Once he made himself visible, the attacks became more frequent, more violent. Specifically to Joy. The drover would push them, trip them. He scratched Joy across the back so deeply that it left bloody wounds. Jim was nearly shoved down the basement stairs. Jesus, I said. They kept a brave face on in public, but to me they broke down in tears. Joy was manic. She couldn't be home alone with it. When Jim went to work, she'd spend her days at the library or Starbucks. Why did they stay? I asked. They just bought the place. They were afraid they'd lose everything if they left, Melissa said with a shrug. Sunk cost fallacy?
Yep.
What does that mean?
Fallacy is like a hold on. Fallacy. I've heard it.
I've heard it. Like I know 100% what it means.
A fallacy is an error in reasoning that makes an argument invalid or weak. So, the straw man fallacy is like when you bring up, like, say someone's talking about pie, arguing about pie, and they bring up the fact that dough's in pie. It kind of brings the subject off course or something like that, but keeping within like the boundaries of the same kind of. I don't know. They just bring up doesn't matter. Fuck up the argument.
I know somebody who does that.
I do as well.
Noah diagnosed. I guess they thought they could stick it out. I know they were contacting a priest to see if they could come and cleanse the house, but they were going to have to do it without attracting too much attention. Jim is trying to make a partner at his firm. It'd be a mark against him if he started talking about how his house is haunted. Oh my god. Noah said.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. What happened the night they left? Melissa took a breath. They had just sat down for dinner when they heard the voices calling out for them from the pantry. The pantry? Really? That's like
Guess so.
where you have food and stuff, right? Like
Yeah, you keep your cans in there, your flour, potatoes, stuff like
it's
that.
a weird place where the ghost.
He's snacking in the middle of the night, bro.
Oh, pass me the salt.
I'm hungry.
They tried to ignore it, but when the voices started becoming agitated and threatening,
Didn't give him the salt, man. Come on.
shit. Jim and Joy moved out into the living room. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have put that. I shouldn't have put that in my head. Okay. The drover appeared down the hall. They tried to ignore it, but how do you do that? I can't even stop myself from throwing recyclables into the regular trash. I can't imagine trying to eat with a goddamn monster staring at me. Try being a kid.
Fucked up.
They decided they couldn't either. They got up and left for the evening. When they got home around 1 in the morning, things were worse. Their couches had been flipped over, the chairs in the kitchen had been stacked on the table, plates and bowls were smashed on the ground. As soon as they entered the house, they smelled cigarette smoke all around them. Then, the drover materialized, directly in front of them. "Oh fuck," I said, taking a long pull from my wine. "Wow, this is tasty."
I didn't know you took pulls from wines. I thought you did that from like cigarettes or like.
Yeah,
tubes.
I don't know. She said he's hideous. He was there 1 second and gone the next. Then she felt his hands on her throat. Melissa stopped speaking. The silence was deafening. I finished my glass and poured another for both of us. Melissa took it and tipped it back. I followed suit. I could smell the sauce burning. Noah must have too, because before I could say anything, he rushed over and shut off the burner. Jim told me Joy couldn't breathe and turned blue. He tried to help, but there was nothing to do. That rhymed.
That's true.
He actually laid on top of his wife to try and break any connection between her and the drover. It worked. She caught her breath, but the drover wasn't finished. Jim felt a burning sensation on his back. They smelled burning flesh. The drover had branded a star symbol on his shoulder. That's what did it. They ran out and haven't been back.
We sat in stunned silence. Everyone in the neighborhood had been wrong. It wasn't drugs or spies or mob violence. It was an actual angry ghost. I suddenly understood why Melissa was hydroplaning the wine. "Jesus fucking Christ," Noah finally said, breaking the tension. "Are they okay?" "No." "Did something happen tonight?" I asked again. Tears formed at the corner of her eyes. I reached out and touched her hand, letting her know she was safe here. No judgment. A tear fell, and Melissa nodded yes. I didn't want to pry, but I assumed the reason she was over here was that something had happened. She'd either tell me or not. Joy called me this afternoon and asked a huge favor. She asked if I could go into their home and grab some important paperwork for her. They needed it to sell the house. She said the activity was lowest in the late afternoon. I didn't want to do it, but that poor woman had gone through so much already, so I said okay. You could have knocked me over with... Some friend Chris. You could have knocked me over with a feather. If a ghost had choked me, I'd never ask anyone, let alone a casual neighbor friend, to go into the house. I was raised better than that. Melissa, as far as I was concerned, was a saint. If I had a vote in the Papal conclave, she'd get it. What happened? Everything was fine at first. I wasn't planning on staying long. I'd walk in, head to their bedroom, grab the files, and run out. 10 minutes was the maximum amount of time I'd be in there. As soon as I entered, I felt the temperature shift. It was freezing. As I moved through the hallway, I heard whispers around me. What were they saying? I couldn't make anything out. It was like a human vocal static. Just sounds. But my brain knew they were voices. I pushed past and went into their bedroom. I rifled through their dresser until I found the paperwork I needed. Then the smell hit my nostrils. Cigarette smoke. As I turned to leave, the drover, her voice cut. She waited a beat, collected herself, and continued. He was standing in the doorway, a shadow in the shape of a man in a hat, just watching. He disappeared, and I felt fingertips dragging up my arm. I ran out and came over here. I don't know why. I needed to feel safe or check my sanity, or Melissa put her head on the counter and broke down into sobs. I moved from where I was standing and wrapped her in a supportive hug. She was trembling. I said nothing. I wanted her to know that she had our support. She stayed that way for damn near 5 minutes, letting all the trauma come before I got her. Sorry. When she had cried
You're a
out all
monster,
her
bro.
tears.
You're a fucking monster.
Bro, this is the way she said. She stayed that way for damn near 5 minutes. Letting all the trauma come before I got her. When she had cried out all her tears, she thanked me and sat up. Her face was puffy and her eyes red from the salty tears. You're safe now, I said. No, he said. I'm not. I was sorry. Before I left, I heard him say to pay off his land, all of it. Oh, okay. So it is a pissed off old guy, and all the land got bought out after he died. I get it. I think he was talking about the neighborhood. Why would you think that? Noah asked. This whole area used to be one big ranch. You can find old maps online. I don't know what he meant, to be honest, but I wanted to let you know. You're right across the street. You could be next. Once she breathed those words into existence, they found a home in the holy hell, what the fuck fear region of my brain. I escaped my growing dread long enough to tell her she was always welcome here. Melissa stayed for a bit longer, collecting herself. Noah offered to escort her home, which she gladly accepted. I can't say I blame her. Not only is Noah a looker, but if a haunted ranch hand were threatening me, I'd have a buddy with me at all times. While he was gone, I pulled out my laptop and started searching. Dinner was going to have to wait. We'd ruined the sauce anyway. I needed to know if a haunted rancher was going to come into my house and choke me out. By the time Noah returned, I found what purported to be a map of this area from the late 1800s. With a little Photoshop wizardry, I placed the old map on top of a modern one. Sure enough, our neighborhood was smack dab in the middle of Badwater Ranch. J&J's home was labeled as the boss's house. I showed Noah. He frowned. Badwater doesn't exactly portend good things, does it? Not really, I said. How was Melissa when she got home? A little better. The wine helped her calm down, but also made the trek longer than normal. We did more weaving than walking. She gave me the link to that landscaping course, though. Fantastic. The flowers that grow in our graves will look lovely. You honestly think that thing is going to come over here? If we agree that thing is already a ghost over there, then it crossing the road to our place isn't a gigantic leap in logic. He nodded. Should we go over there and see if anything is there? Alright, you take over here.
I knew this was coming. Noah had wanted to go check things out from the jump. Now that there was a spooky story attached to J&J's departure, the drive to go check it out would be full bore. I had zero desire. Yeah, like full balls to the metal, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I had zero desire to see what was what inside their haunted house, haunted abode. Nor did I want my husband poking around. No, I said. I don't want to invite this thing over, assuming there is a thing which we won't know until we check it out. Noah, I said, narrowing my gaze seriously. The lady told us it nearly choked Joy to death. We really want to go pissing our violent ghost off? He held up his hands to show his surrender. Okay, fine. You're sticking to your guns on this one, huh? This is like the third time this female character has been like, no. And he's just like, okay.
He gave up, bro.
He's got no nuts.
He knows,
she
he knows where to
neutered him.
stop.
Yeah, she neutered him.
Fucked up.
That's hilarious. I pointed my finger gun square at his chest. I'd rather you not die if I can help it, I said, holstering my hands. He walked over and kissed me on the forehead. What a lovely sentiment. I'm sappy like that, I said, leaning into him. Is dinner salvageable? Noah looked back and shrugged. How do you feel about pizza? About 40 minutes later, 10 after the app's promised delivery time, Noah looked out of our blinds and saw the pizza guy pull into JJ's driveway. The scruffy-looking man walked up to the front door, pies in hand, and was about to knock on the door when it swung open. The pizza guy was talking to somebody inside the house, but Noah couldn't see who. Pillar? Did someone sneak into J&J's house when we weren't looking? Pilar? What?
Weird name.
Oh, yeah. Arju. Arju, yeah. Arju was talking to someone over there. Who's Arju? The guy delivering our food. Don't you ever check the app? I pulled myself from the book and walked over to Noah. Why is the pizza guy over there at all? Maybe he got the wrong address. I glanced out, and sure enough, Arju the pizza guy was chatting with somebody just out of view. I looked at Noah. Did J&J come back? Is Melissa over there again? I don't know. Go say something, I said, prodding him. Okay. Come on. Like, come on. Like, come on. We know we just talked about how there's a ghost in the house. You just talked about how you don't want him going over there. You made a big deal out of it.
Now,
what's he talking to? Like, come on. Like, come on, guys. What are we doing? Anyways, I'm gonna keep going. And go say something, I said, prodding him. He could be walking into a dangerous situation. I thought you didn't want me to go over there, he asked, already heading toward the door. I'm not heartless. Go save Arju. Okay, I just want to give like a little bit of like feedback here. Like this was a little your character just kind of just like bounced around here in like a circle. Like that was a little weird because you had this like this little scene up here where they're talking about how they don't want to go there because the ghost and like the ghost is evil and it's gonna hurt them, and then down here they're like, who's he talking to? Like, did they come back and we didn't notice? Like when we just found out there's a ghost in the house and he's evil and we know they're not there anymore. Like that just seems really really weird. Like for it, like this conversation they had with this girl was like 40 minutes ago or an hour ago, and now all of a sudden this pizza guy, and then like they don't know who he's talking to. Like I said, it just seems weird. Like you gotta, that was a little too like circled there. Yeah, I think it was better. It would be better if you just cut right to the point and had him like go out there. But
yeah.
anyway, that's just a little like feedback. Noah opened the door, and I peered back out the window. We both saw, in our shared horror, the pizza guy walked into the house. The door slammed shut behind him. Oh shit, Noah said, sprinting over there. Even though every fiber in my body told me to stay, I couldn't let the love of my life go running into a ghost house alone. I put on my big girl pants and ran after Noah. I wouldn't let him face down the drover without me. I caught up with him as he reached their porch. He didn't seem surprised to see me tagging along. Noah walked up to the front door and touched the handle. He instantly yanked his hand back, waving it painfully in the air. What? It's hot, he said. Fire? I don't smell or see a fire, he said. He glanced down at his hand, and his jaw dropped. He held up his palm to show me, and I felt my heart skip a beat. A small star had been burned into his skin, like the drover had branded him. Fuck this guy, he said. He took a step back, squared his shoulders, and rammed into the door. Or he would have, if the door hadn't suddenly swung open and sent him tumbling into the house.
Fucking idiot.
That's funny. I went to follow him, but the door slammed in my face. Noah? Despite just watching him burn his hand on the door handle, Out of instinct, I grabbed at it. 2. It was ice cold. Turned it, and it pressed against the door. But it didn't budge. I took a step back and kicked it. All it did was send waves of pain up my leg. Still, I gave it another go. It didn't budge. Not wanting to try a third time and find myself tumbling into the abyss, I ran around to the backyard and looked for another way in. To no one's surprise, J&J's backyard was a homes and gardens quality retreat, exquisitely designed with top-end patio furniture, a wet bar, and I shit you not, an actual authentic brick pizza oven.
Sick.
Yeah. I sprinted to their ornate French doors and yanked on the handles, expecting them to be locked. Amazingly, they were unlocked. Opening the doors like the Sun King, I strolled into the house and felt cold instantly. I called out for Noah, but he didn't respond. Neither did Arju. God damn it. I felt bad for him. I delivered pizzas in the past, and it's already a thankless job. Throw being trapped in a haunted house by an angry ghost into the mix, and it might be the worst job imaginable. Even Little Caesar would tuck toga and run away. I made my way to the front door, but nobody was there either. The pizza boxes were even missing. None of this made sense. Where the hell could they have gone? I called it again for Noah, but they didn't hear him. But I heard something. Whispers all around me like bees near honey. Melissa had called it human vocal static, and that was apt. The whispers sounded like what I imagined English sounds like to foreign ears. Noises that would make sense if God just turned the dial a little to the right or left. My nose caught a scent that, regrettably, wasn't pepperoni. Cigarette smoke. Both of my parents smoked for years, and I've always hated that specific stink. All this did was piss me off. The smell transported me back to sitting with my father, sick with cancer, lamenting that the hospital wouldn't let him smoke anymore. I don't care that you're here, I said to the empty room. My voice echoed off the walls. I'm here to get Noah and the pizza guy, and you're not going to stop me. This isn't your home anymore. Hell, you're not even alive. There hasn't been a ranch here in hundreds of years. In 100 years. There's nothing you can do that's going to stop me from helping my loved one. And Arju, the pizza guy. The power cut off. Begrudgingly, I had to give the drover credit. This was a good way to stop me from finding these two. Pilar. Is that her name? Is it Pilar?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like it's pillar without an L.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that was her name. That's funny. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Help me.
Pilar, help. It was Noah, and his screaming was coming from under the house. I didn't know this place had a basement. No one else in this area did. If it was anything like the backyard I imagined, I'd be stepping into an aristocrat's apartment. Please help. Came another voice that I assumed was Arju. I felt horrible that he had blundered into this entire ordeal. His tip would have been biblical to atone for all of this. Exorbitant tipping. Another legitimate reason to hate the drover. I scanned the room for the stairs to the basement. Not that I was excited about the prospect, but I knew if Noah were down there, I'd soon be. I wasn't even sure how they got down there in the first place. But when an angry ghost is haunting your neighbor's house and nearly killed the last occupants, you don't question odd shit. It's par for the course. And in that moment, I felt like Tiger Woods. The cigarette smell swirled all around me, and I had to assume the drover was on the move. The whispers started again, louder this time, clearer. 2. Well, there wasn't a bunch of coherent phrases. Every once in a while, an actual word slipped through the static and found my ears. Death, leave, torture were among the winners. I spied a door tucked away in the kitchen that had to lead to the basement. I ripped it open and saw an ancient wooden staircase that seemed out of place in the home's interior. While the bones may have been made with classic river rock, the guts had been completely modernized. Why do all that and not change the stairs? Pilar, is that you? We're down here, Noah yelled through the darkness. I padded for my phone, but I left it at home. I'd have to descend into the basement in the dark. Great. As I took my first step, I smelled cigarette smoke again. Melissa's story about Jim nearly being thrown down the stairs came back to me. I glanced over my shoulder, but didn't see the drover. I didn't want to stick around to find out if he showed up. Running down the stairs, my foot caught on something sticking out of the wall about halfway down. It was enough to throw off my balance. My body pitched forward and I grabbed the railing to keep myself from falling. But the time-worn wood splintered, and I went hurtling down the stairs in a heap.
Throwing my left arm up to protect my face did little to limit the total damage. But it probably saved me from at least a broken nose. My cheek slammed into the corner of the step. I felt a cut open up and blood trickle from the wound. Because I cartwheeled down the stairs, the blood ran up and down my face, depending on where my head was at the moment. I hit the landing with a sickening thud. The air rushed from my lungs, and I heard my head smack onto the dirt floor. I saw stars, and my vision went blurry for a moment. My landing had kicked dirt off the floor, and I started coughing. Wait, dirt floor? Why in the world did this basement have a dirt floor? Unless this wasn't a basement, but a root cellar. Of course, J&J were homesteading too. Probably had homemade kimchi buried somewhere down here. Is this how a concussed brain processes thoughts? As I took a life-saving gulp of air, I sat up and shook the cobwebs from my head. Looking up the stairs, I felt my heart stop. Dozens of disembodied arms were coming out of the walls, their ghostly fingers extended, looking for another leg to grab. What the ever-loving fuck is going on? I heard myself say. From the top of the stairs, a figure rose from the floor. The drover. She was mostly in shadow, but I could see his blood-red eyes just below his hat brim. There were no whispers now. He didn't have to say a word. His appearance there said everything I needed to know. I was in danger. I kicked away from the bottom of the stairs and scooted across the dirt floor. As I did, the drover disappeared, and the door to the basement slammed shut. I was in total darkness. I felt the gritty dirt under my fingernails. I was trapped in an overgrown crawl space that had been here since the original pioneers laid down the first rock. Glancing up, I saw just how low the ceiling was. I didn't think I'd even be able to stand fully down here. I'd have to stoop to avoid cracking my head on the wood and pushing my concussed brain to NFL level player levels. Noah, I whispered. Where are you? Over here, he called out. That's not helpful, I said. Where is here? Follow the sound of my voice. I turned to where I thought I'd heard him, but as I was trying to locate him, the whispers filled the crawl space more aggressively, more angry. Made finding Noah almost impossible. It was like they were in my ears. I started crawling toward the far wall, assuming they were there. Each time I moved, I kicked up more ancient dirt into my nostrils. I sneezed and coughed, but kept moving. Finally, through the noise, I heard Noah's voice calling for me. I was heading in the right direction. Pilar, Pilar, can you hear me? Yes, I said, reaching out my hand. I felt his hand wrap around mine. He pulled me closer. Then he started yanking at me, pulling way harder than he should be. His grip tightened, and I felt a burning sensation ripple across my skin. The cigarette smell returned. In the dark, I saw those blood-red eyes in front of me. The drover had me in his grasp and was pulling me into a dark corner of the cellar. I started screaming and tried yanking my hand back, but his grip was ironclad. I rolled onto my back and dug my feet into the dirt floor. It slowed him, but my shoes wouldn't catch. I kept sliding. Behind the drover, a swirling white light formed in the corner of the crawl space. At first it looked like a candlelight flickering in a storm. but it kept growing, and soon looked like a whirlpool of lightning. Portal? I didn't know where it led, and had no intention of discovering that for myself. The swirling white opening provided enough light for me to see where Noah and Arju were being held. They were locked in an old coal storage area, just below the remnants of an antique coal chute. Someone shoved a metal rod through the latch, trapping them inside. Noah was screaming for me and throwing himself at the bars, but they wouldn't budge. The whispers were so loud and omnipresent now that it was just a buzzing white noise. My ears were laser focused on the swirling storm in the corner. In the eye of the cellar hurricane, I glimpsed what looked like crackling flames. That was never a good sign. I needed to do something, and fast, or my life would literally slip away from me. Melissa said that Jim had gotten on top of Joy to break the connection and stop the drover from choking her. But the drover had been invisible then. I saw him now, felt him. I wondered if feeling was a two-way street. I raised one of my legs off the ground and instantly felt myself being dragged faster toward the portal. With my leg free, I took dead aim at those blood-red eyes and kicked. I didn't expect to hit anything, but when the bottom of my foot hit something solid, I unleashed a Bruce Lee-level barrage of kicks. I chopped my free hand at his arm and felt his hold on me loosen. With my ass mere inches from the lip of the portal, I reared my leg back and called upon the spirit of every horse that ever kicked a person in human history. I slammed my leg forward and landed a kick so hard between his eyes that his grip loosened enough for me to grip my arm away. I was free. Well, free-ish. My kick knocked the drover back so far that his form got caught in the pull of the swirling light. He reached out for me again, but I scooted away from his desperate clawing. His hands landed in the dirt, his fingers carving little troughs as the gravitational pull of the portal sucked him deeper into its psychedelic light. I left the drover to struggle with whatever was going on and scrambled over to the coal storage bin. Noah and Arju were cheering as I knocked the bar from the latch, freeing them. Noah wrapped his arms around me, but I brushed him back. Run now, hug later. The three of us made our way to the stairwell. Before we went dashing up, though, we all skidded to a stop. There were hundreds of arms coming out of the walls now. They waved back and forth like seaweed in a strong current. They were substantially more than I'd seen just mere moments ago. If we went up the stairs and they grabbed us, where would they drag us off to? Back to the drover? To another portal? Shit, I said. The fuck is this place, Arju asked, his eyes wild. Alright, you take over here.
The whispers were frenzied now. I knew it was a response to the drover being yanked down into the portal. I wasn't sure if his anger stemmed from being dragged down or from the fact that he had failed to bring me with him. Was he working for something on the other side that needed a living woman for some unspeakable reason? Either way, I wasn't sticking around to find out. Cole Shooty. Cole
Shoot.
Shoot.
Cole, shoot.
Shoot.
I'ma slap you. Cole, shoot. I offered.
I offered, yes. Too small, Arju said. I tried it. There has to be a cellar door somewhere, right? Noah said, his hands reaching the ceiling and feeling around. This is an old house with a root cellar. There has to be one. I never noticed one outside the house, I said. Maybe they sealed it up a long time ago. A sick, sinister laugh broke through the whispers, silencing our conversation. We all glanced back at the drover. Despite his straining, half of his body had disappeared into the portal, but he was fighting to free himself. His blood-red eyes watched our every move, plotting. We can't leave, Rebecca. I told you, down here no one will hear you, or your worthless children scream, it said, cackling like a deranged madman. I didn't know who Rebecca was, but I was instantly on her side. The drover didn't become a monster after he died. He'd always been one. Death had only increased his power. They're waiting for you down there. I'll drag all of you down with me. The fuck you will. I said, my blood boiling. The surrounding dirt beneath our feet shook. I looked down just in time to see a tiny hand burst forth from the soil. And another, and another. They felt around for something to grab. I'm never delivering pizza again. Tips ain't worth this shit, the pizza guy said in a panic. From the opposite side of the crawl space, Noah's hands found something that felt like a cellar door. He tried pushing up on it, but it didn't budge. He called Arju to help him. With their combined efforts, the buried cellar doors moved ever so slightly. I ran and helped. With the three of us straining, the door briefly parted. Fresh dirt from above us fell through the crack. An old owner must have landscaped right over the cellar door, probably to keep whatever the fuck was down there trapped. With all of our attention on our escape route, we hadn't noticed that several child-sized figures had crawled out of the ground. I turned and saw half a dozen pairs of blue glowing eyes watching us. I screamed, which prompted the men to turn and add to my chorus of fear. On three, give it everything you have, Noah said, readjusting his grip. 1, 2, 3. We all shoved the doors. My arms strained against the wood, but the harder we pushed, the more I felt us breaking through. Dirt fell onto our heads in the bucketfuls. We closed our eyes and gritted through it. Finally, moonlight was visible. With a last struggling push, the door opened wide. The night sky was above us. Arju scrambled up through the hole first, nearly leaping straight out. He helped Noah out after. I turned and watched us as the figure of a woman crawled out of the ground. The children moved to her, and she wrapped her arms around them. This had to be Rebecca and her children. She looked up, and we locked eyes. She nodded to me. I nodded back. Pilar, what's the holdup? Before I reached for Noah and Arju's waiting hands, I watched as all the figures moved towards the drover. He struggled to free himself from the portal, but it was in vain. Rebecca and her broad shoulders... Oh,
Her
brood.
Rebecca and her broad shoulders.
Jesus Christ. I don't know where my brain... That's so funny.
Funny.
Rebecca and her brood surrounded him and kicked at his head and body. As I was being pulled up, I watched as the drover completely disappeared down into the portal. As soon as his hateful form was gone, the portal winked out. We crawled out of the hole in the ground and scurried away from it as fast as our exhausted bodies could move. We made it out to the lawn, where Noah and I collapsed. Arju didn't stick around. He ran to his car and took off like a bat out of hell. Noah and I lay on the grass and stared up at the night sky. I felt for his hand, found it, and intertwined our fingers. We didn't speak. There was nothing to say. We just looked up at the stars and let our bodies slowly recuperate.
Yep.
If anyone had looked out, we have looked like the druggies that J&J had sold their wares to. Tea would be piping hot among the neighbors. I was too emotionally drained to care. What finally got us moving was the sprinkler system turning on. The ice-cold water hitting our skin made us jump up like firecrackers. We moved through the driveway, but it was no use. We got soaked. Noah and I locked eyes and started laughing, just pure unhinged cackling that echoed down the street. What the hell is going on here? It was Frank, holding a bag of trash and looking confused. He glanced at us and shook his head. You two on drugs? Not yet, I said, pushing my wet hair out of my face. But I'm hoping to change that soon. Pilar, Noah snapped. Listen, you two want to use devil's lettuce, do it in your own home. Not on neighbor's lawn. On your neighbor's lawn, Frank said. I'm gonna throw this trash bag away. Don't be here when I get back. I know a guy on the force, and he'll drop everything to help me. Frank was a lot of things, but a jokester wasn't one of them. He would absolutely call the cops on us. Tonight, and then engage us in conversation tomorrow during our walk. As if nothing had happened, thus is the way of Wild Boomer.
Of the Wild Boomer.
Of the Wild Boomer. I'm gonna lie, that was hard for me to digest. In the days since, things have calmed down over there. Melissa had to go back and get something else for JJ, and reported she felt nothing this time. I thought it was ridiculous to go back at all, but whatever. Maybe she was truly running for Pope. Pope?
Pope.
She told us movers were coming at the end of the month, and I'd be hitting the market not long after. It'd be hitting the market not long after. The drover was gone. No clue where he went. I don't know why he tried dragging me down with him. I don't understand why he was so violent. I saw his face as he was being yanked down. I saw fear in his eyes. The same fear he saw in the people he tortured, and hurt and killed over the decades. Sometimes when I'm feeling down, I think about his horrified face, and it never fails to brighten my day. The other night as Noah and I were coming in from our nightly walk, I glanced over at JJ's place. In the living room window, I saw Rebecca's blue eyes staring out at me. I nodded at her. She nodded back. Solidarity across time and dimensions. Soon, child-sized shadows joined her. Their bright blue eyes shone in the evening purple light. Some even waved. I waved back, and I felt a stirring in my chest. Those poor, tormented souls finally found the peace they had lacked during their lives. I looked at Noah, who was holding the door open for me. The man never raised his voice to me, never treated me as a lesser, never locked me in a root cellar, coal chamber. I walked to him and gave him a tight hug. He was surprised, but eventually melted into me. He was my dude. In good times and bad. Hot damn, how lucky was I. The end.
Nice.
The end.
That wasn't too bad. It was a good little ranch story.
I think it was okay. I think some of the dialogue was really strong. You had some really strong dialogue, but then you had some other dialogue that felt out of place. This very much read as a horror comedy. Which don't get me wrong, that might have been your intention, so I don't really know. But if that wasn't your intention, you did have some parts that just kind of came off as funny or just felt weird, so I didn't know how to take it. And some parts of the story also kind of read like a script with the dialogue and just like the way you're matching your description and stuff, which is like, it's also not a big deal, but that just kind of made me wonder if maybe you were a script writer at some point. But the biggest thing I would say was the tone shifts. There was a big part when we were reading the description of the first story, like where she's talking about what happened to the JJs. And I think it would have been like a much stronger horror piece if we didn't have the characters jumping in and just saying random shit, because it kind of just like took you out of it a little bit. I think if you kind of had her like say the piece, because like when you have the characters kind of jumping in, it almost kind of felt to me like a script, because like you had these other people in this scene like kind of jumping in, kind of like a script would. But it also just kind of threw the tone off for me, because it's like I'm trying to like listen and like get into the story, and like because it's a scary story. Like I like scary stories, so I'm trying to like listen and hear the lore. But then you have this character jumping in, like saying, well, what would the character say here? Let me look.
It's like fucking. Hold on, I know what you're talking about. Like Jesus fucking Christ. No,
Yeah.
Finally said, break the tension. Are they okay? No.
Well, there was stuff before that too. Like there was that, and then I think the Pilar said something too, but like it was just along like the same lines, and like that almost comes off as like kind of comical. So
yeah.
it just like it kind of completely shifts the tone from like being scary to like comedy. So like
Mm.
it's just a weird tone shift to have, and you're doing it in jumps in between the writing. So like it just kind of pulled me out of that. But if this is supposed to be a horror comedy, then it doesn't really matter. But that's
Yeah.
just kind of like a nitpick I have. And also was the other part, but we already talked about that after I read it, was where you kind of had the characters circle, like talk about how, oh, I don't want my husband going in there because there's a scary ghost. And
And
then
then immediately
not
it's
even
like,
an
check out
hour
what she's
later,
talking to.
it's like, oh, he's talking to somebody over there.
Yeah.
Did they come home? Like that just felt like kind of weird, because unless you're like insinuating they're still skeptical, but like Pilar was talking about it like she was actually scared of it and she wasn't skeptical, so like it just felt weird. Like it just felt really weird. But that's about it. That's all I could really have to say. Other than that, like it's really good. Like you didn't really have any grammar issues or anything. A lot of the dialogue I like read very fluently. There was a lot of dialogue, I will say that, but like it was still good. It flowed really well. Um, your like your kind of like villain creature was honestly like wasn't that scary to me. He felt like
Fair.
he didn't really feel that threatening to me. Like as soon as like they did the thing where like she kicked him, it's like
He was just like a farmhand. He was just a guy.
yeah, it's like he just felt him like is this just like a person? Like is it
He
a
got sucked into
because like
hell. Yeah.
how do you kick a ghost? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that was a little strange, but overall, like I do think it was strong. I think there was just a lot of stuff that you could kind of like clean up or change a little bit, but like it doesn't matter because like, this is obviously just a short story. But if you were adapting this into a book, like you would probably just want to like readjust that a little bit or something, and just like let people know maybe what the tone of the story is, like if it's a horror comedy or just like a specific horror, because it very much read to me like a horror comedy. But you know, I'll reach out to you after and you can tell me what you think and stuff. Ben, do you have anything
Mm.
else you want to add?
I don't really know reading stuff. For near the end, it was like I don't understand the part where they're like nodding at each other. I don't understand that. I don't get that. That's not like something to pick at. I just me as a human, what does that mean? What does that insinuate?
Like appreciation.
Like, okay,
Yeah, like she like thank you. You know what I mean?
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
got that. Like she's saying thank you for helping. But again, like honestly, I think that whole plot where he was like killing people before could have been like that could have been introduced in the story so much sooner, and that could have been
Yeah.
like you could have made him so much more of a threat and like so much more
Fair.
scary than what he was. Like he was just kind of like,
Mm.
eh.
Yeah, he was kind of. That's fair. He just like ended up being like, oh, there's smoke.
Yeah.
He grabs you, and then now there's a portal, and then it's like boom, you like one person is able to like kick
Yeah,
this guy in the face
like
3
how-
times, and like oh, he's not a threat
Yeah,
anymore.
he's not. It's not like it just didn't really seem like a threat. Like he just kind of
Yeah,
seemed like
that's
a
fair.
flaccid ghost that you could kick. You know,
Damn.
you know what I mean? Like he just didn't seem like a threat. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
yeah. But that's about it. Like that's all I have to say, really. We'll reach out and you just tell me what you think, and if you want to talk about it, let me know. That's all we got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Goodbye.
Bye.